Um, and welcome. Happy Wednesday, you guys. As always, I'm excited to be here with you, and I appreciate you joining me. Um, so our comfortable seated position as usual. We'll get started with, like I said, just some breathing and a little bit of body awareness before we start moving. So if your comfortable seated position looks a little bit like mine, that's fine. If you need to lengthen those legs or adjust a little bit to make yourself more comfortable, I invite you to do that for these first couple of moments. And starting with just becoming aware of our body, becoming aware of how we're feeling today, all the way throughout the body. So from the top of the head down to the tips of the toes. And without any judgment, just noticing where your points of tension are, noticing where you can send, excuse me, where you can send your next exhale for a little bit deeper of a relaxation. So maybe it's to the shoulders. Maybe it's to the muscles in the face or the jaw. Maybe you find tension, excuse me. Maybe you find tension in your lower back. So sending that next exhale there. Okay, and so after you've started to notice where those points of tension are, and after you've started to send those exhales there, I want you to focus in on your breathing. Starting first off by just noticing once again, without any judgment, where your breath is today. Maybe it's a little bit shallower than normal. Maybe it's a little bit deeper than normal. Maybe you took a couple of moments before you got started with class today to kind of find your center and start to deepen through your inhales and exhales. And then after you've noticed where you're at as kind of a baseline, I want you to then start to purposefully deepen through those inhales and exhales. Start to purposefully allow those lungs to really fill up with each inhale, finding that expansion through the chest, through the ribs, through the belly. And then continuing to send that exhale to those points of tension, finding a little bit deeper of a relaxation. Maybe as you continue to breathe, or maybe as we start to get moving, you start to notice a couple of more points that are maybe a little bit sore or tired today. And that's okay, same as before, right when we got started. Just noticing it, sending your exhale there, and with that awareness, giving your body a little bit of leeway in today's practice to just perform in a way that's best for it. So if you have to take some poses back a little bit, or if you want to take that challenge up a little bit, depending on how you're feeling today, just making sure that you're continuing to be aware of the body. So we're going to start to get moving and connect our movement with our breathing here. So if those legs are long, I invite you to pull those in to cross. And we're going to start as usual with just a nice easy spinal twist. So starting our spinal twist with that first big inhale, lengthening through the spine all the way out through the top of the head up towards the ceiling. With our next exhale, we're going to twist to one side, taking that opposite hand around to the outside of that knee. That same side hand comes around behind. We open up those shoulders towards that side wall, and then looking either in that direction or over behind that back shoulder to open up a little bit deeper into this spinal twist. We're going to spend 2 more breaths in this direction before we switch sides. So finding that next inhale brings us to a little bit longer of a spine, and that next exhale twists us just a little bit deeper. Same thing for our second one. That inhale lengthens that spine just a little bit, and that exhale relaxes a little bit deeper into that twist. That next inhale brings us through center, finding that long spine at center once again, and then that exhale brings us to that other side. Same thing, that opposite hand comes around to the outside of the knee. The same side hand comes around behind you, opening those shoulders towards that wall. The gaze can come out either to the side or around behind that opposite shoulder. Finding 2 more nice deep breaths here in this twist. That inhale finds that long spine. That exhale twists a little bit more deeply. Same thing one more time. That inhale lengthens just a little bit more. And that exhale twists a little bit deeper. Next big inhale brings us through center, and then I want you to start to move with the pace of your breath. So just twisting a few times in each direction. The exhale brings us to the side. The inhale brings us through the center. And like I said, just starting to get moving here, warming up the spine a little bit, connecting it to your breath. Thinking about finding that nice long spine every time you come through center, really extending out through the top of the head. And go ahead and give me one more time in each direction, so 2 more nice deep breaths here. After you finish those, letting that final breath bring you back to center, and then finding that exhale to kind of relax the shoulders down, relax the muscles in the face, relaxing those hands or those toes. And we're gonna find our cat and cow and our seated first, and then in a couple of movements, we'll move to our hands and knees to find it from there. But taking those hands to the outside of the knees, and then we're gonna find our exhale. The exhale leans us backwards, putting pressure through those palms on the knees, opening up through the shoulder blades, tucking the chin in towards the chest. The inhale presses the chest forward, rounds out the spine towards the front wall, and lifts the chin. Once again here, just flowing with your breath. So with your exhales, rounding out into that cat, and those inhales press us forward into our cow. Flowing a couple of times here. And go ahead and find 2 more nice deep breaths. Twice more in each direction here. When you finish those last 2 breaths, just bringing your spine back to a nice neutral centered position. And then our final seated warm-up that we're gonna find today is just gonna be a little bit of lower body stretching. So I want you to go ahead and lengthen those legs, and we're gonna take them into a little bit of a straddle, so it doesn't have to be super wide. If you were facing the short edge of your mat, the feet would only be just outside the edges of the mat. Your next big inhale finds that long spine and turns the torso to face those right toes. Our exhale is gonna roll us forward, bringing those fingertips towards the toes, and immediately letting the spine relax into this stretch, just slightly. Opening up those shoulder blades, dropping the chin towards the chest, relaxing the head and the neck, and finding that nice deep stretch through the hamstrings. From here, we're gonna find a lateral stretch. So right fingertips stay towards the right toes. Left arm comes up over top. Nice big stretch here in this direction. All the way from those right or left fingertips down to the left hip in contact with the mat. Next exhale brings those fingertips back down towards those right toes. We're gonna walk those hands out to the center of those feet. So a little bit of a wide-legged forward fold here. And maybe you don't have a whole ton of range of motion just yet. That's okay. Me neither. I'm feeling a little bit tight today. And then we're going to walk those fingertips over to those left toes. So taking them over to that other side, finding that stretch down towards the left toes. And then inhale rolls us up. Don't worry, we'll get to that lateral stretch in just a second. And then brings us back to center for our long spine. Now we're just gonna do that in the opposite direction to even us out. So our inhale, nice long spine, turn the torso to face those left toes, rolling it forward, fingertips come down towards the toes. Finding this nice big stretch, relaxing the head and the neck, relaxing the shoulders. All right, so here's where we'll find that lateral stretch. Those left fingertips stay towards those left toes. That right arm comes up over top. Nice big lateral stretch. That next exhale brings those fingertips back down towards the toes. We're gonna walk those hands out to center. Nice stretch down center for our wide leg forward fold. Go ahead and walk them over to those right toes. And then our next inhale rolls us up, back to seated, and brings our spine back to center. All right, so we are gonna get prepared to get moving in our flow next. So I wanna bring it over to hands and knees. We'll start out still nice and easy from that position, finishing our warm up. I'm gonna move my coffee to my table so my mom doesn't murder me for spilling it all over her nice white carpet. All right, hands and knees. So when you get there, taking just a moment, as soon as we reach this, to make sure that the wrists are right underneath the shoulders. The fingers are spread wide, so they're nice and stable and supportive, taking a little bit of weight out of the wrists. The knees are right under the hips, and we're gonna move right into our cat and cow, like I said, getting here. So that inhale drops the belly towards the floor, lifts the hips and the gaze, and the exhale rounds the spine out towards the ceiling and tucks the chin and the tailbone underneath. So that cow, dropping the belly towards the floor, nice big inhale. That exhale brings us into that cat. I always imagine a Halloween cat when I'm doing this, with its spine rounded up towards the ceiling. Flowing with your breath a couple of times here. So if you're moving a little faster or slower than me, that's okay. All right, give me 2 more nice deep breaths in this cat and cow. Twice more in each direction. When you finish those last 2 breaths, bringing that spine back to neutral. And before we get going into our down dog and our up dog, I want to find a calf stretch. So I want you to take that right foot back towards the back of the mat. Toes are planted as if we were going back into a plank, but we aren't quite yet. We're just going to find a stretch. From here, I just want you to alternate pressing forward so the shoulders drift out over the fingertips a little bit, and then pressing backwards. Those toes are on the ground. That heel presses behind the toes for a nice little calf stretch here, and just making it kind of a nice, easy range of motion. So if it feels good to hold backwards a little bit, you can. If this bothers your wrists, you can bring it down to the elbows, and this almost helps get a little bit more leverage, pressing back through the elbows towards that heel. And then same thing, just kind of shifting forward and backward. We'll just be doing this on each side, so if the wrists need a little break, you can find that. This is also kind of a good stretch for the shoulders if you bring it down to the elbows, pressing them back, opening up, and then moving them forward. Give me 1 more nice big stretch on this right foot, and then go ahead and pull that knee back in. We're just gonna switch sides one time here. So taking those left feet back, toes meet the ground. Same thing from the hands or from the elbows, just alternating, pressing forward and backwards for that nice little calf stretch, that little warm up here. Nice. Go ahead and give me 2 more nice big stretches through the calves. And when you finish that out, pulling that knee back in. And then we're just gonna find one more quick range of motion before we really get moving. We're gonna move from our child's pose to our up dog. So from here, from those hands and knees, I want you to sit those hips back as if you were going into the child's pose, but you don't need to readjust the knees and the feet. And then we're just gonna shift from here with that inhale to press forward and bring those hips down so that we've got our cobra. So just a couple of times, again, kind of at your pace, pressing the hips back, getting that stretch through the shoulders, and then pressing the hips forward, getting that stretch through the front side of the body, finding our range of motion for our spine. And as we get going into our flow today, you always have the option of taking any kind of break that you need in a down dog or in a child's pose. So just remembering that if you find any kind of pain, or if you're finding that you're particularly tired today and need a break, Never any shame with taking a little break for yourself, like I said at the beginning, making sure we're listening to our body and what it needs. Next time you bring it forward into that cobra, I want you to hold there for just a moment. So the tops of those feet are on the mat, those hands are planted, the chest lifts up just a little bit, and we're going to take this opportunity to turn it over and bring it into our downward facing dog. So if you need to bring it back on those knees a little bit, that's fine, but turn those toes over, press those hips up and back. Now we're going to spend just a moment stretching out here. So again, if you need that little break for the wrists, you can bring it into dolphin, pedaling out those heels, taking a moment. All right, awesome. We're going to move into our low sun salutation flow. So nice big inhale brings us up into that down dog. If you found those elbows, go ahead and bring it back up to those hands. Our next exhale shifts the shoulders out over the wrists. And from here, we're going to take our first one modified. So go ahead and drop those knees to the floor. That next exhale brings us down through our chaturanga, keeping those elbows nice and close. Turns those toes over, presses us up into our cobra or low cobra if you need to keep it down here. Nice little stretch there. And then our exhale turns those toes over, presses those hips up and back, downward dog. We're going to find that just one more time. That inhale lengthens that spine up towards the ceiling just a little bit further. Exhale floats the shoulders out over the wrists. Now either from the toes or from the knees. Our next exhale lowers us down through our chaturanga. Our inhale presses us up, cobra or up dog. Our exhale turns those toes over, presses those hips up and back. Now we're going to bring it from here to our warrior two. So right foot starting out comes up and back, three-legged dog. From this position, slight bend through that left knee. Bring that right foot forward, planting it right underneath that knee. The ankle is right there. And then we're going to start with our left hand. We're going to cartwheel it up, and then we're going to turn that left heel down. Right hand is forward, left hand is backward. Bend through that front knee into our nice stable warrior two position. From here, we're going to find our peaceful or our reverse warrior. So our next inhale turns that palm over, lifts us up and back. Nice big stretch through the front side of the body. This feels really good right now for me. Opening up kind of laterally. Exhale brings us back out to our warrior two. From here, we've got our extended side angle or a modified version of that. So I want you to bend that right elbow, bring it down to that knee, and then we're going to open up through the left side. So lateral stretch in the opposite direction. Moving forward, if you need a challenge from here, you can always just extend those fingertips down towards the floor and not use that knee for support. But just for this first one, nice stretch here. Our next inhale brings us back to our warrior two. So fingertips are nice and long. Left hand is going to sweep forward as that left heel comes up off of the floor. We've got our crescent lunge. Taking your second to find your balance. We'll only be here for a moment. Our next exhale folds us forward, bringing those hands down towards the floor. Now we're going to find a nice stretch from our low lunge to our hamstrings. So drop that left knee. Let the top of that left foot meet the mat. We've got a stretch forward in our low lunge, so pressing down, opening up through that left hip flexor. Then we're going to move one time backwards into our hamstring stretch. So shifting those hips backwards, those right toes come up, that right leg lengthens, and then you can either reach towards the toes if you have your balance here, or you can use those hands as a little support as you hinge forward at the hips to find that stretch through that long right leg. From here, we're going to shift those hips forward and bend through that front knee one more time into our low lunge. Curl that back toe under, lift that back knee. The right goes back to meet the left. Now there's our little flow. We're going to move through that a couple more times. I'm going to explain a little bit less, so we'll move a little bit faster as we get going. But feel free to take any modifications or any breaks that you need as we get going. Our next big inhale brings those hips up and back. We've got our low sun salutation flow. Exhale shifts the shoulders out over the wrists, from the toes or from the knees, lowering down through our chaturanga. Our next inhale presses the chest up into cobra or up dog. Our exhale turns those toes over, presses those hips up and back. One more time, just like that. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, float the shoulders out over the wrists, and then lower down from the toes or from the knees. Elbows nice and close to the body. Inhale, presses the chest up. Exhale, turns the toes over, hips go up and back. We've got our left foot starting out with our three-legged dog. It presses up and back just briefly. Bend through that right knee. Bring that left foot forward. The left ankle lands right underneath the left knee, or take a second to readjust. Warrior two from here, starting with that right arm. We sweep it up and over. The right heel comes down, opening those fingertips from side to side, finding your balance, finding that bend in that front knee. Nice length and nice and proud through the upper body. Next, inhale, peaceful warrior reverse. Next, exhale brings us back out to that warrior two. We've got our extended side angle, bending through that left elbow, bringing it down to the knee. Right arm comes up over top. Nice big stretch. Once again, for that extra challenge, that hand just extends down towards the floor, not using that knee for support. Next inhale brings us back up to our warrior two. Fingertips nice and long in either direction. Crescent lunge from here, left or right arm brings it forward. That right heel comes up, finding your balance, finding your step. Nice little bend through that front knee. Next exhale, folds us forward, plants those hands. That right knee comes down, top of the right foot meets the mat. Stretching forward into our low lunge. And then our hamstring stretch just one time here. Shift those hips backwards, left toes come up. Hinging forward at those hips. Nice little stretch through the left hamstrings. Next exhale presses us forward back into that low lunge. Turn that back toe under. Lift that back knee. Left foot goes back to meet the right. All right, we're going to keep moving on this. Our next big inhale brings us up and back into that downward dog. Exhale, floats the shoulders out over the wrists. From the toes or from the knees, we lower down through our chaturanga. Inhale, presses up, cobra or up dog. Exhale, turns it over, hips go up and back, downward facing dog. One more time through that. Once again, inhale, up nice and long. Exhale, shoulders come out over the wrists and we lower down. Again, these are optional. If you need to take a break in child's pose, that's fine. Inhale presses us up. Exhale, turns the toes over, hips go up and back. Back to our right foot, three-legged dog, presses it up and back. Left knee bends as we sweep that right foot forward into our lunge here. Ankle right under the knee. Warrior two, turn that back heel out, leave with that left hand, cartwheel it up, find your balance. Next inhale, peaceful or reverse, turn that front palm over, lift it up and back. Next exhale brings us back out to center. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, elbow comes down to the knee, bringing it over, extended side angle. Next inhale pulls us back up to our warrior two. Left arm sweeps forward, left heel comes up, crescent lunge, finding your balance. Next exhale, folds us forward, plant those hands, bring that back knee down, let the top of that foot meet the mat. Exhale to press a little bit further forward, a little deeper into this. Inhale shifts those hips back, hamstring stretch, lengthening that front leg, lifting those toes. Exhale shifts us back forward, plant those hands, curl that back toe under, lift that knee. Right goes back to meet the left. Downward facing dog. Back to the beginning again. We've got to hit that left side again. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, flip the shoulders out over the wrists. From the toes or from the knees, we lower down. Inhale, presses the chest up dog or cobra. Exhale, turns the toes over, hips go up and back. One more time there. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, shoulders out over the wrists. From the toes or from the knees, we lower down. Inhale, presses us up. Exhale, turns it over, downward facing dog. Left leg goes up and back, three-legged dog. Slight bend through that right knee. Springs that left foot forward into that lunge position. Ankle right underneath the knee. Warrior two, starting with that right arm, we turn that right heel down, sweep it up, finding your balance when you get to the top. Next inhale, peaceful or reverse warrior. Turn over that front palm, lift it up and back. Exhale brings us back up to center. Inhale finds our long spine. And then exhale brings us forward into that extended side angle. Once again, elbow on the knee or fingertips towards the floor. Bend through that front knee. Inhale brings us back up to center. Right arm sweeps forward. Right heel comes up. Crescent lunge. Exhale, folds us forward. Hands come down to the mat. Right knee comes down to the mat. Top of that foot meets the mat. Next exhale presses us forward just a little bit deeper. Nice big stretch through that hip flexor. Inhale shifts those hips backwards. Lifts that front toe. hamstring stretch. One more time forward. Plant those hands, curl that toe under, lift that knee, left foot goes back to meet the right in our downward facing dog. We're gonna go through this one more time on each side, but we're gonna cut our our low sun salutation in half. So we'll just do it one time here. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, float the shoulders out over the wrists, from the toes or from the knees, lowering down. Same as before, you can just find that child's pose. Inhale, presses us up, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, turns those toes over, lifts those hips up and back. We've got our right foot here. It goes up and back into our three-legged dog. We have a slight bend through that left knee. Right foot springs forward and plants. Warrior two up next. So turn that back heel down, lead with that left, bringing it up. Nice and long from fingertip to fingertip. Inhale, lifts that palm into our reverse or our peaceful warrior. Exhale brings us back to center. Inhale finds our long spine here. Exhale brings us into that extended side angle. Elbow comes down towards the knee. Left arm comes up over top. Nice big stretch. Next inhale brings us back up to center. Nice and long from fingertip to fingertip. Left arm comes forward. Left heel comes up. Crescent lunge. Next exhale, fold us forward. Plant those hands. Bring that back knee to the ground. Take the back top of that back foot down. Exhale, presses us forward. Low lunge, nice big stretch. Next inhale, shifts us backwards. Front toes come up. Front leg lengthens, hinging at those hips. Fingertips on the ground or towards those toes. Next exhale, shifts us forward. One more time, plant those hands, lift that back knee, curl the toe under. Right foot goes back to meet the left. All right, you guys, last time through this, before we change it up a little bit, we gotta hit that left side still. Inhale, nice long spine, hips go up and back. Exhale, shoulders float out over the wrists and from the toes or from the knees, we lower down, elbows facing close. Inhale, shifts us up, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, turns the toes over, hips go up and back. Left leg, three-legged dog, presses up and back, big inhale, slight bend through that right knee, shift that left foot forward with our big exhale. Warrior two comes next, turn that back heel down, lead with that right arm, sweeping it up, finding your balance once you get up here. Nice bend through that front knee, inhale brings us to peaceful, turn over that front arm, lift it up and back. Exhale brings us back out to center. Inhale finds a little bit longer of a spine. And then exhale shifts us forward, elbow to the knee or fingertips towards the floor. Right arm up over top. Nice big stretch. Big inhale brings us back to our warrior two. Nice and centered, long spine. Right arm brings it forward. Right heel comes up. Crescent lunge. Nice bend through that front knee. Exhale folds us forward. Plants those hands. Brings that back knee down to the floor. Top of that back foot meets the mat. Exhale, shifts us forward into that nice hip flexor stretch. Inhale, shifts us backwards. Front toes come up. Front leg lengthens, hinging forward those hips. Again, hands on the floor or fingertips towards the toes, depending on how your balance is feeling today. Exhale, shifts us forward, plants those hands, curls the back toe under, lifts the knee, and then we bring that left foot back one final time to meet the right in our downward facing dog. We're going to take a really brief, like 15 or 20-second recovery. So you're welcome to take a second and grab a drink. You're welcome to drop it to child's pose, or you're welcome to keep it right here in our downward facing dog, just pedaling those heels out and giving yourself a second to catch your breath and come back to it. All right, and then from here, I'm just gonna have everyone just bring those knees to the floor. So if you're in those child's pose, just shifting those hips back up, bringing us to our hands and knees. All right, and like I said at the beginning, we're just gonna finish out with a little bit of core. So before we flip over and hit our core front, I wanted to start with core back. So we've got some bird dogs from this hands and knees position. So taking that right hand and that left leg, we're gonna extend them really long in either direction towards the front and towards the back. Now, if you're feeling good and stable from here, you can just pull them towards center, the elbow and the knee come together, and you keep going with that same arm. If you're feeling a little unstable, you can plant that hand and then still pull that knee in towards center, and then keeping it going on that same side a couple of times here, just to get moving. And I want you to think about really activating through the core, and really thinking about squeezing the muscles in the core and finding a whole ton of length when you lengthen. Now, thinking also about your breath in the same way that we would do our cat and cow. Our cat is our exhale, rounding out the spine as we pull the elbow and the knee in. Our cow is that inhale to find that length, belly almost drops towards the floor. Give me 3 more on this side. When you finish those 3 on this side, set that right hand and that left knee down. Give your left shoulder just a second, and then we'll get going on that other side. Same thing, left hand, right leg, we extend long, and then depending on your balance, you either bring the hand down and the knee in, or you bring the elbow and the knee towards each other. Finding that nice extension, finding that activation through the core and through the spine, and connecting it to your breathing just like you would the cat and cow that we did earlier. Awesome job. Give me 3 more on this side. When you finish those 3 on this side, placing that hand and that knee down, and then you can just kind of sit back towards the heels. We're actually going to flip all the way over next, but if you need a second to roll out the wrists from that position or from our flow earlier, giving those wrists a second to recover. We're done putting all the pressure onto them for today. Like I said, we're going to move to core front. So when you're ready, I'm just going to shift my feet around and bring it down. Bending the knees and planting the feet, and we'll actually start sitting up nice and tall. We'll go into our roll-ups. We've got a couple minutes left. All right, so since we've got about 4 minutes left, really quickly, before you log off, as soon as we finish, if you can put your site name into the chat box. And I want to keep us moving for these last 4 minutes. So our knees are bent, our feet are planted, our inhale finds our nice long spine. Our exhale rolls us down to the floor. So bringing it all the way down. And we're going to find 3 nice roll-ups. So our next inhale brings those arms up overhead. Our exhale circles those arms down and using as little momentum as we can, sitting back up. Like I said, we're going to find 3. So there's 1. And then exhale brings us back down to the floor. We've got 2 more. Inhale, arms up overhead, long spine. Exhale, rolls us up. Nice long spine at the top for that inhale. Exhale, rolls us down. And then last one, big inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, rolls us up. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, brings it on down to the floor. Go ahead, pull those knees in towards the chest. Like I said, we're going to keep it moving. Make the most of these last couple minutes. Keep that right knee pulled in. Extend that left leg long. The higher towards the ceiling, the easier this will be. The lower towards the floor, the more difficult this will be. Head and shoulders can be up to increased difficulty. Take that right leg. Take it out long to meet the left. Both are long for a moment here. And then go ahead and exhale. Pull that left knee in. Nice little stretch there. Same thing. Left leg goes out to meet the right. Both are nice and long. And exhale to pull that right in. A couple more times on each side. Right goes out to meet the left. Little hold out nice and long. Exhale to pull the left knee in. Again, left goes out to meet the right. Nice and long. And the right goes in. Once more on each side. Right goes out to meet the left. Both legs are long. Exhale, pull the left in. Last time on that second side, left leg goes out to meet the right, down, center, right leg comes in, relax the head and shoulders down, pull both knees in. Similar range of motion coming up next for our second to last range of motion today. Lifting the head and shoulders up off of that mat. We're gonna extend long in both directions from here. So the legs and the arms go in opposite directions, and then we're gonna circle those arms around as we pull those knees back in towards center. So our exhale takes us long. Our inhale pulls us around, knees come towards the center. A couple of these here. Same concept, the higher you take those feet, the easier this will be. The lower you take those feet as you extend them, the harder this will be. Keep breathing through this. Nice work. Give me 2 more. When you finish those 2, pull those knees back in. Relax the head and shoulders back down. Final exercise, we're going to do 10 bicycles. I want you to take those knees up to our 90 degrees. Take those fingertips right behind the ears. Nice and easy. Extend that left leg, left elbow to right knee. There's 1. Switching for 2. Switch for 3. Switch for 4. Here goes 5. 5 more. 6. Switch it up. 7. 8. 9. Last one. Switch. And pull those knees in. Relax the head and the neck. All right, nice. Next big exhale rolls us up to seated. All right, you guys, awesome work today. Got about 15 seconds, so it might cut us off, but thanks for being here. Big inhale, arms come out and up. Palms meet overhead. Exhale pulls us down to heart center. The light in me honors the light in you. Bowing as we say namaste.